Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coaches around the world, welcome to Business Coaching Secrets. It's your boy, Road Dog, with none other than the man, the myth, the coaching legend, the Elon Musk of business coaching, Karl Bryan. Welcome to the show, Shoots.
Shoots. Well, dang, that sounds a bit like a compliment given the events of just recently. And rather than doctor, I've gone from doctor to Elon Musk. I'll take it, Shoots. I'll take it.
There it is, bud. You know what? If it's one thing I am, it's full of compliments. It's better than other things I've been accused of being full of. We'll let that one sink in for a second. Probably right over your head, but this is what happens when you're 5'2". Listen, this is just like that image I sent you, right? Like folks, I always make fun of Karl for being short because, you know, he is. And there's a great one, this meme that I saw that said, be the bigger man. It said, well, first off, I'm 5'2". So pretty good. Pretty good.
So I woke up Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen. That was my Saturday morning wake up. Road Dog sending me that. So there we go. All good.
You're welcome. So there you go. All right. Listen, speaking of the Elon Musk intro, dude, what do you think of Elon buying into Twitter? Like possibly even a seat at the table, which I've actually heard this morning he's probably not going to take, but Elon buying in. What are your thoughts on that before we get into some business coaching questions? Because this is
probably a good way to start. He is now the single largest shareholder. Kind of wild. You know what? I think Elon. Look, he's crazy, but I think he's crazy calculated. I think he does very little without a well thought out plan, despite the way that it appears. But do understand that attention matters, and all eyeballs on Elon pretty consistently, whether he's smoking pot or whatever he's doing, but eyes are on Elon. You know, remember a strategy, don't know that it's relevant here, but being really smart and pretending to be stupid is a really, really good strategy. So something along the lines of the smoking weed. There's an argument to say that was actually, I'm not going to say that was overly calculated, but absolutely could have been part of his plan and ended up working out pretty damn well for him and had some serious views or, people listening to his Joe Rogan podcast. But anyway, so I think he does very little without a bit of a thought out plan. He's also and I'm not pretending to be the biggest, I'm not the Elon Musk follower or his best bud that knows what he's up to by any stretch, but I don't know. Road Dog, here's what I saw what happened. Like, he criticizes Twitter. He then talked about launching his own social media platform. And then he goes and very soon after, he buys a majority stake in Twitter, right? The one that he was criticizing. He wasn't criticizing Facebook. He was criticizing Twitter and then talking about launching his own social media platform. And then he buys a majority stake. And then they admit him to the board. So that happened, depending upon when you're listening to this, but that was last week. And he declines the board seat and makes no official comment, just declines, right? It's kind of wild. And by the way, and if you're wondering why did he decline that, again, I don't know, and I don't know that too many people know, but he didn't, if he would have signed if he would have taken a seat on the board, he would have been signing something to say that he could only own less. I think it was 14.9, but less than 15% of the company's shares while he was a board member. So I think that he's passing up that opportunity for that reason. And he's got the money to go buy plenty of it. And I think Twitter's going to boom. Road Dog, I don't know what you think, but I think it's going to absolutely boom. It's a million times more popular than people in the internet marketing and the coaching world realize. That I'll tell you. If you sit down with a VC and the guy, let's just say he's worth 100 million, that guy's not on Facebook. That guy's on Twitter. Okay. Again, Elon Musk is not hanging out and talking about Facebook. He's talking about Twitter. Again, understanding, the calculation of it all. He could have bought into Facebook if he so chose. He could have bought into Instagram. He could have bought into TikTok. He chose Twitter, right? So Twitter is a lot more popular than people realize, and that is official. And I think it struggles. It's got some bad management, Road Dog. It just seems to be the way it's been for a long time. It also has what I believe to be a toxic left agenda of censorship. It's got censorship is part of the problem, right? And they ignore all criticism for features that it's kind of lacking as a general platform. So I don't know. They're going to make some of those changes, and I think Twitter is going to absolutely boom. And think about it, he invested $3 billion, but it depends upon when you're listening. I mean, he's already up big time, and so it's not like it's again he you know what I mean? Like he invested the dough, but he's already made a return. So I mean, the guy can he sends out one little tweet and things change in the stock market. It's kind of wild. So I think he's going to make a mint as he's done elsewhere. So that's what I think, Road Dog. I think that it's very calculated is what he's doing, and I think it's going to have a happy ending. Let's see. But Twitter, is about to go up in status.
There you go. It's all about the happy ending, isn't it, Karl? So there you go. Well said, bud. Well said. Dude, man, oh man, I got to script you out before we do this podcast sometimes, I swear to God. Hey, listen, let's get back on track here. Where should I go? Here's one. What's a competitive event? Wow, I'm going to learn to read this week. That's going to put that up right at the top of my list. What's a competitive advantage that you've seen for business or something to work towards with high-end clients? There's a good question. What would be a competitive advantage or something to work towards with high-end clients? Which, by the way, I'd be curious what your definition of a high-end client is, but I'll leave that with you.
Yeah. Well, I think a high-end, like I would say 20, at $1,000 a month, that's 12 grand. 1,500, you're at 18. I say 18. For a high-end client, we've got coaches that charge 10 grand a month and take a piece. We've got newbies that are starting out at 1,000 a month and making sure that everybody's protected. And that the business owner is not going to overinvest, and that the coach doesn't have too much pressure initially at $1,000 a month. I mean, anybody can provide provide a return of $1,000 a month, 12 grand a year. It's easy peasy. We've got all of that training. So Road Dog, I'm going to say, above 12 grand for sure. But maybe 18 grand and upwards, 5 grand a month is 60 grand a year. That would be a high end client. So competitive advantage, I think you got to compartmentalize it. Like, I think you got to be thinking, Mark, just if you throw everything in, you put it all in one little pot, mix it together. I don't know that you'd get the answer, the outcome that your client might be looking for. So I think maybe marketing, operations, and mindset might be your three baskets. And by the way, when like being unique as a frame, like unique and being good, being great, should always be the highest priority that will win over time, right? So you've got to be unique to stand out, and then you've got to be good. If your client's not going to be good, you're not going to be good. Like, why do most coaches not make it? The truth is that they're not that good. And it's not that they're not that good. They're not committed to being good, because it's really not that bloody hard, right? So that should be at the absolute forefront. But thinking marketing, operations, mindset, marketing, rather than just try to be unique and create a different way, like try to create a different way of doing things. So rather than better, faster, and more efficient, although those things are a start and better than nothing, think of a unique way of doing things. You probably get a little bit more attention. Like, we built profit acceleration software. So when we train our coaches, we're not, it's not just become the best coach you can be. That's part of it, and we'll elevate you with 100% certainty if you spend 5 minutes with us. But we have a software and a methodology and a Jumpstart 12 and then a Deep Dive 40. And then we built digital acceleration software. And then we've got group coaching software. And you watch our guided tours, you see it all bundled together. And it's like no one else is doing it in that manner, right? Like we invented software for business coaching, right? So thinking about that as like a unique way of doing things, maybe it's P90X. I remember when they came out and they talked about muscle confusion, which I thought was awesome. A totally different way of working out. And think of it as fooling your muscles and basically getting massive gains without having to have huge weights. Or Gatorade back in the day, they had everybody had like a drink, but then they had electrolytes. It was all about the electrolytes, the electric lights, right? Nike, I remember when they had the waffle style sole thing came out, again, totally different, a different way of doing it. And because of that sole, and the physics behind it, it made you faster, made you more efficient, yeti. What would be another, like, I remember my wife, she had Invisalign, actually not that long ago. I remember they had, what was it, like Smart Track materials and then Smart Track, or maybe it was Smart Force features that were like clinically proven to provide predictable tooth movement. And of course, without wearing braces, because what's the drawback of wearing braces is that you're wearing braces, right? So Invisalign, it wasn't just we're going to make your teeth straight. They had a totally different way of doing it. So I'd be thinking about, when you're thinking marketing, thinking of a different way. And then if you were to say operations in business, I would definitely, we talked about this lots in the past, but can never talk about it enough. Network effects. So as a frame, most things that you buy go to zero the minute you buy them. Okay. So think toothpaste, you take the lid off, goes to zero. A bottle of water, you crack the lid, don't take one sip, the bottle just went to zero because the next person's not going to be willing to buy it, right? Hand cream, same thing. Whatever you buy, most of the things that you buy, as soon as you take the lid off, as soon as they have a small amount of use, they pretty much go to zero, right? Or a car is not quite like that, but it loses 30% of value when you sign the papers. But that's not toothpaste. That's a $25, $50, $100, $250,000 asset that falls 30% as soon as you sign the paperwork, right? You don't have to buy it. You just have to sign the paperwork. So thinking network effects, this is operationally, these are the things you want to network effects, the definition, and again, had this in the past, but it's a beauty. Like, think of a telephone. The more users that take on the asset or take on the thing, the better the user experience comes for the people that follow. Okay, so think of a phone. I got a phone and nobody else has a phone. It's pretty useless, right? It's like a video game in my hand. If Road Dogg has a phone, I have a phone. It's good for him. It's good for me. That's a walkie-talkie, but not really good for you. If you've got a phone, I've got a phone, Road Dogg has a phone, and everybody in the city has a phone, ooh, that's getting pretty functional. If everybody in the state's got a phone, significantly more valuable to me. What if everybody in the country has a phone? More valuable to me as an existing user. What if everybody on the planet has got a phone? And now think about how functional it becomes. So that would be the opposite of the toothpaste where you take the lid off and it's done, right? So think of when more listers on Airbnb attract more renters on Airbnb, which attracts more listers on Airbnb, which attracts more renters on Airbnb, which attracts more listers, and you end up with an impenetratable business, right? Like, I don't know, try compete with Airbnb right now, right? Like, where are you going to put your house? You might go on, what is it, VRBO, but you're not going to go on VRBO and then not be on Airbnb, right? Uber is another example because the riders attract good drivers looking to make a decent living, which lowers the wait time, which attracts good drivers, which attracts more riders, which lowers the wait time even further, which attracts more riders, which attracts more good drivers. It's like a flywheel, right? So it gets bigger and faster as it grows. I mean, Uber literally crushed, the taxi industry that was 100 years old and, put it out like a cigarette. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but if you could own one company, Yellow Cab or Uber, which one are you buying? And we all know the answer, right? And then Road Dog, so the heavyweights in the network effect world would say a value, how do they say it? A value of a network is equal to the number of members squared. So what do I mean? If Airbnb has 20 million users, I got no idea. I'm sure it's more than that. Doesn't matter. If Airbnb has 20 million users and then it goes to 40 million, as in it doubles, right? 20 to 40 million, the value of Airbnb does not go up. It's not a 2x multiple. It's a 4x multiple because the bigger it gets, the harder it is to compete with, right? So it becomes more predictable, more sustainable. I did a 4-hour talk at Business Coaching Mastery last year in Cancun. I did a talk on, buying and selling. It wasn't all about buying and selling companies, but that played a major part of it. And we talked about like 2 words: predictable and sustainable is what increases the multiple that you get for it. So I'm make sure that I'm not confusing the multiple that I was just talking about and the multiple to buy it. What I'm just talking about is the multiple of the value of the network. So again, you don't get a 2x multiple, you get a 4x multiple when you go from 20 to 40 million users, right? TikTok works on network effects, Facebook, all your Instagram does, YouTube, Google. Once a network has traction like this and it's, say, the biggest in the niche, it's almost impossible to penetrate. It's in fact almost impossible to compete with. And again, just use Google as an example. You can say that some of these other guys are competing with them, but the truth is that Google dominates. And if you've ever tried to Google, like, search something on a different search engine and then gone to Google, you're generally speaking, you're going to get a significantly better result, in my opinion, doing it on Google. It's just, and why? Because that's where all the searches are. It's not because it has a lot to do with their algorithm. It's superior, but it's the fact that there's so many more searches. So it has so much more, the artificial intelligence and whatnot, it has so much more to work with, right? So the first time you did a search on Google, it was never as dumb as it was in that moment, right? Like, artificial intelligence always gets smarter with more use. It just gets smarter. So it's never dumber than it is on day one. So just think of how smart Google is right now, because they've seen it all. Whereas the other search engines haven't. Idea, it's impenetrable. And then just look at YouTube, Facebook, Airbnb, Amazon, eBay, Craigslist. That's it. So complementary to those, maybe listening. Okay, so we've got coaches. Here's not anywhere near that effect, but you may or may not realize. But part of the power of going from one to one to many, and I want to take you. What's a major what do I want to say? Supplementary, intangible, like. What is a major advantage that comes from going one to one from one to many, apart from the obvious leverage? Okay, well, let me tell you what it is. It's the higher perceived value of your one to one, as in it's easier to sell and at a significantly higher ticket value, right? So the part of what you may or may not realize from a compounding perspective is that going from one to one to many, it's clearly you got leverage, right? Because instead of going one to one, you could do 10 people at a time, 25 at a time, 50 at a time. Okay. And then you do your math, and you're going to work out that you can make more money in a group setting. But a massive intangible there is the easier it is to sell your high ticket stuff. The same way when I sold coaching, I had a rule: I would not take on a one-to-one coaching client if they didn't see me talk in public. And the whole idea is there was a level of respect that they had, a level of compliance that they were willing to follow that some of the others that I get, like, I would get a referral, and then rather than just signing them up straight away, which may have made sense, I would get them to come to an event. So they saw me talking. As I spoke, I said, write this down. People wrote it down. I said, stand up. They stand up. I said, sit down. They sat down. I said, raise your hand. They raised their hand. There's a level of power there, hard to explain. So when you try something with a client, and let's say that it doesn't work as well as you planned or you'd hoped, well, they'll give you significantly more leeway. Like, your cancellations and the longevity, the retention of your clients, significantly greater. So anyway, so that's that perceived value is worth noting. And again, you can imagine, I get it. I have some folks that have offered me a lot of money to work one to one, and it's just, look, it's a hard no. It's not even a conversation, because I'm building a company here. I don't have time to do one to one coaching on a weekly basis, but I can tell you that it's, going by that, we have over 1,000 clients. It's attractive. So for you, forget me. What about you? That's it. And by the way, also, if you're a speaker, that's like, say you go to an event and you could be sitting in the crowd or you could be on stage. Okay. The network effect, I want you to think of, being in the know, being in the inner circle, let's call it, being able to go to the VIP events and getting, the closed doors parties and the closed door get togethers and that sort of thing, getting an invite there. That's like a network effect where you become significantly more attractive. It's like the singer of every rock band, right? After the show, is he struggling to get a date? We all know the answer, right? The fact that he's up on stage is kind of that intangible. That's not, I don't want to call that network effects apple to apple, but it's pretty close. And you might want to be thinking about that. Like getting into the chamber and becoming a big deal, getting into BNI, becoming a big deal, getting into the golf club, becoming the big deal, getting into the yacht club, becoming a big deal, being in the inner crowd, that can provide you some huge perceived value that could work in the way that network effects does, where just works in your favor. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. So strategically, are you taking time to go and do that? But bottom line, from operations standpoint, competitive advantage, help your client become part of that inner scene, or certainly consider it, may or may not make sense. And most definitely their business, try go to a group dynamic. If you get a chiropractor, is he doing back talk? Get a physiotherapy? Are they doing an educational thing? Have they written a book? Are they doing webinars? Are they doing speaking events? And when they do, are they promoting it? Is there a magazine for the industry? And are they, in that inner sanctum and looking at getting on the front cover, etc.? That's the kind of stuff that could work in an intangible way. And then mindset, Road Dog, moving on to the third one. So we had marketing, operations, and mindset. There is more we could talk about, but keep it under control here. Mindset, like by a long way, no one ever gets this right. I often ask it in a live room, and I think we might have even said this in the not too recent past on the podcast, Road Dog, but like, what's the ultimate competitive advantage mindset wise? If I ask a room of 100 people, they'll put up their hand and I'll hear character, communication, that sort of thing. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about here. It doesn't need to be business. It could be sports, politics, war, Hollywood, baseball, basketball, basket weaving, business. The ultimate competitive advantage is the ability to see the entire playing field. The end. The ultimate competitive advantage, mindset wise, which debatably is the absolute most important, right? Is the ability to see the entire playing field. A little bit like we were talking about Elon Musk a minute ago. I just think that he sees things. He's playing 3 steps ahead of where he's at. Everybody's looking at what he's up to. That is not the way to, to analyze, an individual like Elon Musk, like his behavior. Do not look at what he is doing. Believe me, he is 3 steps ahead of everybody. And that's where, he probably, there's a debate to say he made the guys at Twitter look pretty foolish pretty quick by them publicly offering him a seat and him very publicly denying it, but then not doing anything public about it. Just like, nah, that's okay. I'm just going to sit back here and everybody's wondering, right? So anyway, so in words of my mentor, 3 words: stop and think. Stop and think. Hard to do. There's urgent and important. Urgent always wins, and important needs to win. In fact, Road Dog had Billions. What's the guy's name? Prince. Somebody comes in and says that this book is slamming you, and like you're a terrible guy, blah 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 blah. And then he says, what did he say? Make a meal of it, but it's something to the effect of, okay, that's what's urgent, but let's talk about what's important. Right? That's him. Like he's like, whatever, who cares? Somebody's, there's somebody who works with us is saying bad things about me. Not trying to think of her name. She's the Tony Robbins of The Office, right? Anyway, so he's like, yeah, this is urgent, but let's work on what's important. And I don't think people are taking the time to do that. And that is a game changer. So top of mind, Road Dog, top of mind. There you go. What do you think?
Speaking of mindset, I want to dive in because somebody asked a question in regards to, how do you help someone stuck in the starting blocks, struggling to get their first client? Obviously, this is a mindset type of a scenario, right?
Yeah.
But I just think it's a great sort of transition here. So what do you say? Again, it's sort of an open question. I don't know if they're talking about a coach or if they're talking about helping a client. I'm going to assume it's a coach.
Could you give me the question?
But
Can you
how do you help someone stuck in the starting blocks, struggling to get their first client?
Okay. Yeah. Good. That's a business coach, Road Dog, is my opinion. I don't know what you think, but I'm thinking that's a business coach going, help. Yeah, strong possibility. You won't get out of the starting blocks or hit your goals if your mind is getting mixed signals. Like starting with envy of others, brutal. It organically creates, like, your envy creates these multiple roadblocks, like day to day, and the result is that you just can't see yourself on the top of the end. They can't see yourself winning. If you really want to become that person that you've been dreaming of and that you've seen, and somebody who you see as a mentor, and you want to get there, you got to learn to protect your mind, right? It's have a look at your environment, right now. Just have a look where, but hopefully if you're in your office right now, even your car, just have a look around at your environment. Is it calm? Does it provide positive stimulation? And your environment could be free of blame and judgment. Again, that's a mindset thing on steroids, but genuinely expect the best of yourself no matter what. Does your current environment do that? Right? You'll be remembered. We just finished a 4-day event on how to read financial statements and how to find your high-end coaching fees before starting with a new high-end client. We just finished that, and might have said this last week. We had an accountant, 35 years. He was opened up multiple times and ended up, participating a bit with the, he was he was unbelievable. He was great. And and he just said, I wish that I would have, well, first of all, what I said last week, I think, is that he wished he would have had this stuff decades ago. But then I said something and he said, wow, that really stuck. And it was that you'll be remembered in life for what you refuse to give up on. Right? You're not going to be. Here's the mistake that coaches make that are trying to get going. You're not going to be remembered for what you experiment with for 90 days to see if it works. If that's your attitude, you've kind of already lost. The secret is what you've got to do. You got to go all in. Anybody has a private conversation with me and we talk about, what's the plan for the company and what are you doing? I'm talking, it's 10 years from now. That's just totally what I'm focused on. I'm going to get there because I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to give up. I'm not going into crypto. I'm not going to go into real estate. I'm not going to go into whatever it is. I am, building software for business, business coaching, business consulting, that industry. And that's where I'm going to stay. And that's what allows me to be 100% dogmatic, and long-term focused, because I just know that I'm going to win. I can't lose, because how could I lose when I refuse to give up? Right. But I'm not trying to pat myself on the back in any way, shape, or form. My question is, are you sitting there, if you're honest with yourself, assessing whether or not this stuff works, assessing whether or not business coaching is for real, assessing whether or not the others are actually making any money or if they're full of crap, assessing on whether or not the program actually works without actually doing the effort? Right. So anyways, what was said that was very, very powerful was that by someone with a lot of experience, you'll be remembered in life for what you refuse to give up on. And my question is, what do you refuse to give up on? And is it this? Right. And by the way, hopefully you got kids. Hopefully that's your kids for sure. But think about that. If you took the same attitude as you do towards your kids with your business, there wouldn't be any of this, experiment for 90 days hoopla going on. Also, in your environment, remove as many things as you can from your day-to-day activities. I've talked about this, but again, one of those things I couldn't talk about enough. And by the way, at least for a period of time. If you can't see yourself doing it long-term, which I think you should, but that's fine. But certainly eating and snacking, forgo that. It's doing you no good. Driving, grocery shopping, drinking, partying. Start buying pre-made meals, hire a cleaner, drive in the back of an Uber instead of driving your own car. only do what's absolutely necessary and have all focus energy that you have. You've only got focus and energy, and channel it towards a single and clear goal. And we'll assume that that's building a successful coaching business and getting that first client, and then getting the third, and then getting the 10th, right? And by the way, define exactly what that looks like for you. That might be 10 grand a month for you. You might be semi-retired, not looking to work too hard, and 10 grand a month. You want to get 5 clients at 2 grand. That's 10 grand a month, and never stop. So you feel like you've got 10 grand a month for how long? Forever, and all the way through in retirement. So you'd never have to touch your assets, your net worth, right? Or affect your net worth by selling assets and that sort of stuff. Or is it 100 grand a month and you really want to crush it and you want to join the 7-figure club? You got to, and I Road Dog can't give you that answer. I can't give you that answer. That's going to be totally up for you. And by the way, not for, if that's too much for you to get your head around, do it, not forever, but for an extended period of time, until you maybe start to like that new routine, by the way. Little star there, right? Because that's what will happen. But just for give those things away just for a period of time, and again, if you have kids and family, obviously I'm not talking about pushing them out. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying here, but I am saying be insanely strategic with your time if you want to be successful. Otherwise said, your distractions are killing you. The end. And then also I'd go to simplicity, like declutter. Like when I said you're in your car, you're in your office, like declutter your environment. Give away everything that doesn't support your success right in the here, right in the now, and just get it out of your eyesight, get it out of your way, like a minimalist kind of approach. Hire someone to come in and do that major clean out on your living room, your closet, your kitchen, definitely your office, but the cupboards as well, where you're spending a lot of time in the kitchen. And better if you do it, but there's a good chance that you won't. So I say, pull out your credit card and pay somebody to come in and do it, and bloody do it well. Just get rid of everything that doesn't support your success, and do nothing that does not support your success with your energy and with your focus, right? Sounds a bit trite, maybe. I got to tell you, though, my experience is people have got so much going on, and that you're just guaranteed that you're just not gonna, you're not gonna get, that one client. You can get one client with a whole bunch of things going on, but to achieve your goal and to get to where you want to go, you got to learn to say. Warren Buffett would tell you that you need to say no 90% of the time, right? And then we'll go next to make sure that everything your eye can see brings you joy, peace, relaxation, and place reminders everywhere of how amazing you are, right? But like, does your environment, if you have a minimalist kind of environment, you're going to feel like it's more calming and relaxing. If you've got a whole bunch of stuff going on, it's not going to be nearly as so. Like your vehicle, get it clean, get it detailed regularly. No matter, I don't care if you drive a Kia or a Hyundai or a BMW or a Ferrari, be proud of those surroundings, right? Like, fine packaging indicates something of value on the inside, and that's you, right? So you've all done it. You clean your car, and what happens? It drives better, right? You clean your office, and you feel amazing. Here's another one, Road Dog, I'd say is like music. I'm not a huge music guy, by the way, but most people are. And make sure that the vibration going on around you supports kind of that same, that joy, that happiness, that's, a solid well-being. Like we have a music system across our entire house, and like consider investing in, like, there's really easy to do nowadays, but like consider investing in something in your house and your office. And by the way, have playlists on your phone so you can be strategic about what it is that you're playing and when. Like Monday should probably have a different vibe than Friday. So create a Monday and then also create a Friday playlist, for your home, for your car, for your phone. Right. And by the way, you're not a music guy like me. Like I find music distracts me, but when I'm zoned, like when I'm not working on something specific, like I don't want music going on in the background as I'm sending emails. But but afterwards, and when I'm trying to zone out in between projects and that sort of stuff, when I walk into the house, I love some good music. Total game changer. Before this podcast and before big events, look, I hit AC/DC style music hard, right? So, and what music do you listen to before a sales call? before a big meeting, before a JV meeting, before you get out of a, like, what music are you listening into your car before you get out to meet somebody who's has something of benefit that could potentially go in your favor for your business? The chamber gal that sells the memberships, the head of the golf club, the head of the yacht club, the head of the B&I group, the chamber, right? Like, so, and it should help you get going, right? And above all, look, you got to start your day, because you could do all of that, but you need to have like a clean slate. Like Buddhism, it's all about, Steve Jobs, you love this, but Buddhism is all about a constant clean slate. It's like you're always starting, like everything's always just clean slate, clean slate. Just picture a canvas with a painting. Well, there's never any paint on it. It's just the paint goes on, but then the paint goes off and you get a clean slate. And then the paint goes on and then the paint comes off and you got a clean slate consistently. So in other words, stop, like you got to stop the judging. The people who judge the most are the most fearful of getting judged. The end. The most people that are most critical of other people are most critical of themselves. The world is a mirror. It's ridiculously predictable, but we tend to not play it too well. See it as a game. And you can't change, the past, or, at the end of the day, it did get you here, right? And the alternative, by the way, is not so good, right? Not being here. So sure, life could be better, but it could also be worse, right? So start with, today and just owning it, being okay with it, and map out a game plan, a yellow brick road, a plan for going forward, right? You'll never be. I think it's Mark Cuban said that the best advice his dad gave him. Pretty sure this is from him, but what did he say? You'll never be as young as you are right here in this moment, right? And reality is we only have so much time left, right? Treat it as special and precious, and there's just no dress rehearsal with life. So don't stop living like as though there is, and just start with that little red arrow. You are here, not from where you wish you were or where you want to pretend to be, which is again, horrific place to be, coming from. And that's that, and, start in your now and just get rocking, and send that first email, send that first private message, send that first text message, make the first call, jump in your car, go meet whoever you need to go meet. And, focus is not about focus. This, again, I went over this on the 4-day presentation we did on how to read financial statements. Focus is not about focus. Focus is about subtraction. Focus is about elimination, which is what I'm trying to get here, right? Say no to almost everything, and I don't know, your life becomes so much easier. So that's what I'd say, Road Dog. That's a surefire way to make things a little easier, bud. What do you think? And step by step, just got to make that first call. Send that first message.
Complete sense. I feel like we need to close the loop, because I think we should not ignore the impact of everything you're saying in regards to body and food. Or am I in my own wavelength? Like, are you thinking the same?
You know what? Good. I didn't even touch on that. And yeah, high five, because they would be the most important. Your body's your temple, right? Road Dog knows that. He's about to do a marathon. He's on his training. He's on the slide down. He'll be doing that in about a month, or I think 3 weeks, right? 21 days thereabouts. Your body's your temple. He knows sleep, diet, meditation, exercise. He's not going to get that. He's not going to get done that marathon if he's not looking after himself, treating his body as a temple, right? And you wouldn't buy high-end, expensive furniture for a cheap house. You wouldn't buy an expensive paint job for a cheap car. If your body feels and experiences like you don't really love it, right? It's like a cheap temple. What do you expect that's going to come back? Again, the world is a mirror. The world is a mirror. And again, I'll apologize on behalf of you to your body, right, for the way that you've maybe treated over a time. And I have certainly been ridiculously guilty of that at different times in my life. But I'm telling you, do it. Get a personal trainer now, right? Or do 75 hard. I'll go buy a Peloton, but don't buy it and then not use it. Bloody jump on the thing and start going. Start stretching, exercising, walking, running, biking. And by the way, find friends close to you that are doing those. And if you don't have those, I don't have anybody in my circle that's doing it. Well, you are the 5 people you spend time with. What do you need to do? Immediately go meet some new ones. The reason you might be there is that, those choices of the people that you're spending the most amount of time with are not going. Hang out with people that look like your future, not your past, right? Maybe that's it. And like when you feel fit, you're going to look after yourself at a higher level, and you're organically going to attract other successes in different areas of your life, like growing your business and making money and making those phone calls and getting those clients. Like, with 100% certainty. And then, by the way, your food, if you eat crap, don't be surprised when your body doesn't welcome other successes. The end, drop the mic, show's over. You got to say no to processed and boxed food. Put up like real food in your body, like clean water, fruits, and veggies. And don't let the fact that your body is insanely resilient. And again, I have been guilty as charged here, but because your body's resilient, don't let that give you permission to poison it on a consistent basis. It's hard to embrace success for someone when we're trying to, basically make it less productive than it was yesterday, right? Putting these crappy foods in it. So that, Road Dog, and actually, you bring up a good point. There's actually something I was thinking about on the weekend, and I touched on in our 4-day event, but like mindlessly chatting with people, about marketing your business, about your gym routine, about your relationships. Often hear Tony Robbins, and look, we like Tony Robbins. You might love him, you might hate him. Completely irrelevant. Guy's got great content and he's given some great advice to a lot of people. That's undeniable. And it's like he talks about going deep. He likes to go deep quickly with people. He doesn't like chit chat. And I never really understood it, if I'm totally honest with you. And I just found, like chatting can be like poison, right? Like find a professional to work with and listen to them, and then create a roadmap, a step by, not just a goal. A goal is no good without a step-by-step roadmap. You'd be better to create the roadmap than create the goal in a roundabout way. But you need both, right? Let's just agree on that. You should have a 25-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 1-year plan, and then quarterly goals to move towards it. And they should all work synergistically towards your 25-year plan. Think about that. You may have never drawn that up. Your 25-year, plan, 10-year, 5-year, 3-year, 2-year, 1 year, and then quarterly, goals and roadmap to get there. But like hire professionals and bloody work with them. And when they say jump, say how. Don't say why. Say how high, assuming that you've picked the right peers, the right mentors, right? Chat with your friends about baseball and sports and whether it's too hot or too cold. Chat to them about what you enjoy, and leave the growth and business to professionals that are paid to perform. Like someone who smokes finds a fellow smoker to stop smoking with, right? Somebody who's overweight finds somebody who's overweight to start losing weight together, right? If you're overweight, find somebody with a 6-pack. If you're looking to start jogging, meet Road Dog, who's training. Like, he's not going to feel sorry for you when you wake up with the sniffles, or you had a bad night, or you didn't get a good night's sleep last night, when it's time to run on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning, right? He's not going to have any pity for you. So you got to find somebody that looks like your future instead of somebody who looks like your past. Use them, right? Again, a smoker finds a smoker and they decide that they're going to stop smoking together. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's what I'd say there, Road Dog. I think that mindlessly chatting is something that I've been thinking about recently. So it's top of mind. I think we should put that in there also. But nice pickup there, yeah, on the food and body, man. Gotta look after that bad boy. Nobody knows that better than you, bud.
So just to close the loop on all of this, why don't you? What's the catchphrase that you close out all your emails with again? The people money thing.
Yeah, I haven't done that. No, have I? Yeah. You don't. What is it? You don't have a client problem. You don't have a money problem. You have a refusal to help people before they. You have a refusal to help people before they pay you problem. That's your problem, right? So yeah, that's it, bud, right there, man.
Your problem is that that's your catchphrase and you don't even know it and you don't have it memorized in your mind. So I'm going to get you to print that out. You're going to post it up. You're going to read it 10 times a day, and then that'll be that. All right. But close us out. I can't believe we're at the top of the hour here, right? What's the one thing, if you had to pick one singular thing that somebody can take from today and implement to their business, what would that be?
I'm just going to declutter mind, declutter car, declutter office, declutter home, declutter life. Just take things away and you will find, and then get really, really clear and define what that goal is. So somebody asked about, getting a client, right? That's not nearly, that's fine, right? But that's not nearly exciting enough in terms of, the overall plan that's really going to drive you, because you're going to get a client. You could walk down the street in the Chamber of Commerce and offer somebody a money back guarantee to, kick them in the pants to do. You'd have a client. You got exactly what you wanted, right? So let's set that up properly. But if you really want to crush it, and when I say crush it, I mean really influence a lot of people locally. Maybe it's your city, maybe it's the state, maybe it's the country, maybe it's the globe. Maybe you want to, build a school, in a third world country, and really start influencing people and get your name on a wall. That's what you should do. Just declutter. You got to just less things going on. Success is about focus is not focus. Focus is subtraction. Focus is elimination. So that's what I think, Shoots. That's what I think.
Love it. It's so true. I love that so much. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the man on top of the hill, King Karl. And if you're not on the inside getting asked to the pre-show, or you aren't getting Karl's daily emails, you just want more information on the group coaching software and all of the bells and whistles associated with that, go to focus.com and learn more and subscribe today. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please share with a fellow coach or someone that you think might make a great coach. And again, of course, if you like what you heard, please rate and review us, as we know that all the streaming services give a lot of weight towards that. And we would love to continue to rise up the charts. And that is it for another week. We will see you in the next episode. Remember, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.